Hey guys, welcome back to Crosshair Garage. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Lincoln Electric Handy Mig that I bought. I bought it about 3 months ago. Unlike my plasma cutter video, which I wanted to go ahead and do a review right away because I've got a 30-day period on returning that if need be. The Lincoln Electric, I have a little more time on it. But I don't see myself returning it, and I'm going to walk you through it. Like I say, I've had it for about 3 months, and so we'll go over some of the features. And we're actually going to do some welding, and then we're going to cut apart those welds, and we're going to see, you know, how good a penetration we actually got with this welder. This is the Lincoln Electric Handy Mig, as you can see. It's a 125 volt MIG welder. Basically, you have your amp settings here. You have low, high, 1 and 2. And then there's your power button. And this is your, up here is your wire feed. Now I'm running a 75-25 argon mix. Now the regulator that's on here, it's not the best. It came off Amazon. I think I gave like $30 for it. If I can find it, I'll put a link down in the description. But what I do like about it is you have control right here on this knob of, you know, of your acetylene flow, or your, not your acetylene, your argon flow. This is the regulator that Lincoln Electric sends with it, and there is no provisions to control any of the flow. The only way I found to control the flow was actually with the handle on the argon tank itself, which didn't work out too well. Those argon tanks, just like the acetylenes or oxygens or anything like that, you either need to be completely on or completely off, because they have seals in there and you could leak around those seals and you're going to lose gas. It's expensive. I mean, I paid as much for that tank as I did for the welder. Now, refills on the tank they're fairly cheap. I think they're $50–$60 for a refill, which looks like I'm going to have to run out tomorrow and get a refill. But I've been doing a lot of welding with this over the past 3 months. Practice welding, you know, welding on the Willies, welding on the go-kart, stuff like that. So on this side of the welder, you open it up, and first off, up here you're going to have a guide that's going to tell you their suggested welding styles, suggested wire feed for different steels, whether you're doing flux core welding, MIG welding, MIG with CO2 gas. It's going to give you some parameters to get you started. One thing I will note is that if you're going to be doing MIG welding, first thing you need to do is you need to reverse the polarity on this, or at least check it. On mine, it was set up from the factory to flux core weld. So my negative, or well, my ground was actually up on the positive and my spool was down here on the negative. When you get it, they send 030 wire for MIG welding and 035 wire for flux core. They give you a spool of each. Now, it specifically is rated for 025 wiring, as you can see right there. 025 for MIG, 035 for flux core. So I personally, I had a lot of trouble with the 030 wire that they'd sent. My welds were absolutely terrible. So I wound up switching. I sorry, I'm getting text messages flowing in, so I'm getting distracted. But so I wound up switching. I did a lot of research, and what I found was this 023 wire, which I'll show you real quick. So I bought this 023 wire, Blue Demon. After, as you can see right there, it's 023, 6mm, which is the size of the heads that you have, or the size of the tips that you have. So this works great. I've been really impressed with this product. Fairly inexpensive. I just buy it through Amazon. You know, for some reason it says that there's like a 4-week lead time on it, but I usually have it within a week. That may not always be the case. Maybe I'm just getting lucky so far. But also, with your Handy Mig, you're going to get this cheap little chipping hammer / brush deal. Just go to Harbor Freight or Home Depot and buy yourself something different. Which is also this Lincoln Electric. I did buy it through Home Depot. I bought it on their website. I've been looking for a good MIG welder, 125 volt. I really like Lincoln Electric products. And this one came on sale, and it was just over $300. So I bit the bullet. Is that what you said? Bit the bullet? Shot the bullet? Pulled the trigger? Pulled the trigger, there you go. Pulled the trigger, bought it, and I've been really happy with it. As far as my needs go, it's perfect. So I'm going to show you. You know, we're gonna do some welding, but before that, if you sitting on the cart, that side panel's kind of hard to flip up all the time. But if you keep your manual nearby, on page B4, table B1, B4 operations, down here they've got that list to get you started. Now these are just starting parameters. I found that overusing it over time using it, that I've been tweaking those a little bit, tweaking those parameters and getting better results. But for today's demonstration, we're going to set it exactly how Lincoln is asking us to set it. So let's get to welding, and we'll see what happens. So I got two pieces I'm going to demonstrate today. I kind of cleaned these up just a little bit. I've got some 1/4 inch. Now, the book, if you read the book, it states that a 1/2 inch is the maximum thickness that they recommend welding. I personally, I believe it'll do better than that. So we're gonna weld that, and then I've got some basic 16 gauge as well. We're gonna weld that as well, and then we're gonna cut this apart and see what we got. So stay tuned while I do some welding here. Now, one thing that I should note on this is, you know, it's 125 volt welder. However, I ran a dedicated 20 amp breaker for it, which is I did some digging, researching, and it turns out that's what they recommend for it, is 20 amp breaker. But I didn't want any lights, anything else hooked up on that circuit, mainly because I was tripping breakers. I mean, I had a couple LED lights set up, and it was tripping that breaker. And so I wound up running a dedicated 20 amp breaker for the welder, which is something I would suggest doing. If not, make sure you have it on one where you can turn everything off except for the welder, or else you're just going to be tripping it, tripping that breaker, doing a lot of resetting, which can get really annoying. So, all right, well, let's get to some welding, guys. Let's have a little fun. So starting out on with the 1/4 inch, if I'm looking here at the book, for 1/8 inch, it recommends your wire speed be on 8 and your heat range setting on high and 2. So let's get that set up real quick. So as you can see, I'm dialed in over here at 8, just about 8. I've got it set on high and 2. So that is the recommended settings for 1/8 inch steel. We're going to try and do 1/4 inch with it and see how it turns out. I'm going to start out just throwing a couple tacks in here just to kind of hold this in place for me. So as you can see, it lays down a really nice tack. So let's do some welding on this. So, as you can see, trying to get this angled in there, it lays down a nice bead. Takes a little practice. For me, it did anyway. It doesn't look like we have a whole lot of penetration there, but we're going to cut that open and see. So, next we're going to move on to the 16 gauge. And check the book and see where our settings say we need to be with that. So 16 gauge, it's just saying that we need to be on 7, high and 2. So I just need to bump the wire feed down just a notch. Again, I'll throw a couple tacks on here to get it to hold for me. Okay, so we definitely got some really good penetration on that one. I don't even know if there's a need to cut that one open, but we will, just for the heck of it. And again, you can see this. I mean, that's for 125 volt MIG welder. That's I'm really impressed with that. So let me get this out of my way, and then we'll cut these down. All right, well, let's see what we got. We're going to start with the 16 gauge first. I'll bring you guys in a little bit closer. My camera's wanting to twirl on me here. Sorry about that, guys. So as you can see, we have really nice penetration. It's way into there. I mean, you can't get much better than that, but it's 16 gauge. So, you know, you could, I would expect it to lay down a nice weld with good penetration on 16 gauge. Now we're going to get into the 1/4 inch, which this machine's not even rated for, but let's take a look. Now, you can see we really didn't get much penetration in there on that 1/4 inch. I think it would be a strong weld, but I don't know that I would do anything structural with this with 1/4 inch. Now you could always go back, hit the back side. We have a nice V notch back here where you could lay that puddle into there, and I'm sure it'd work out fine. You know, you'd probably get a little more into there, but so what's my take on this? My take on this is that for what I use it for, I love it. You know, I'm doing a lot of body work and stuff, which obviously I'm never going to lay down a weld like this doing body panels. You know, you kind of want to go in there and do the stitches. But overall, I'm really impressed. It's held up really well. I don't know if you have any questions or if you want to see anything about it. If you want to see me, you know, weld something other than what I did here, you know, for the demonstration purposes, or if you have any questions about the welder, you know, hit me up, drop something in the comments. You can also follow me on Instagram, send me a message there. There will be a link, or not a link, but a thing that has my Instagram here. There's also a little, one of these two corners, I'm not sure which one, there's a little Crossthread Garage emblem. If you click on that, you can subscribe or scroll down and subscribe. I'd really appreciate any subscribes, likes. It helps the channel grow. Trying to get better content to you guys, trying to upgrade my equipment as I go along to get better videos out and everything. Be back on the Willys project as soon as possible. It's the day after Christmas. It's Sunday. I'm not going to be getting any parts in today. And there's some stuff that I need. I'm waiting on some tooling parts. So it's just not going to show up today. So I thought it'd be a perfect day to do this demonstration for you guys and kind of go over the Lincoln Electric. I've been wanting to do a review on it for a while now. So hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.